Hey everyone, welcome to Restorative Yoga. My name's Kathy. If we haven't met in person, it's been a long time. I'm really happy to be here to share this practice with you, which is a deep healing practice style of yoga that does not involve a ton of movement or the higher pranic type of energy. It's more dropping into the apana, um, getting close to the earth. Our postures are going to be close to the ground. So lying down, hands and knees, a little bit of seated. We won't be standing. And it's a practice that requires a fair bit of courage because you'll have lots of time to be with your own inner experience. And that's going to include all of the thoughts and emotional things that are coming up. And so sometimes we can be feeling that we're not good at this, or that we can't do it, that we're supposed to feel a certain way, that this should be peaceful, restful. And that is actually not the case at all. All we're here to do is to just allow ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling and be connected with that in a way that is uh, compassionate and friendly. And over time, we'll get a little more used to being okay with it all and not as yanked around or triggered by it, so that we can operate our higher functioning areas of the brain as we move out into the rest of our time off the mat. So we'll begin today. It's good class to have things that are in your home, easy to grab, some pillows, at least one pillow. I've got one pillow and I've got a blanket that I fold up that can have some firmness to put my head on or to sit up on, just to give some height for the hips, or to open up and have underneath the knees. And so we may be wanting to access those. They can be close to your mat, a long sock or a strap, a bathrobe belt, a scarf as well. And for now, we're going to begin lying down on the back. And you might have something underneath your head. Usually the flat blanket, I find, is better than the pillow, which is a little bit cushy. And for me, doesn't feel as grounding. But you may prefer to have that blanket underneath the back of your hips if your ground is hard or your hips and low back are tender. You can take the feet a little wide and let the knees fall into touch to come in intentionally into a constructive rest pose. Letting the femur bones roll in so the low back can widen. And as the knees come into touch, the feet are wide and the elbows can be wide as well. And then the hands, just like the knees or the leg bones, are coming into touch. The forearms are moving towards each other, and maybe the fingertips connect at the lower abdomen. And this is a good place to begin to have awareness that there is a body. So maybe up until now, there's been some drifting of the consciousness, a lot of attention to the streams of thought that carry us away, carry us into the future, into some anxiety, some predicting, some of the triggering around uncertainty of what may be coming. Taking the attention to this area of the belly, where we can just feel the rise and fall of the lungs, the lower lungs, moving in a natural way. And right here, start with some appreciation for the lungs, for the ability to have just this breath, something that we take for granted, to be able to breathe with some ease. And so appreciating something that is tangible and concrete right now that's happening in the body. Whatever we appreciate appreciates, or what we tend to grows or expands. And so for now, even though we may be aware that there's a mental landscape and thoughts are happening, and those may include some negativity. We're hardwired to be more focused on the negative, just as a way of protecting, scanning for danger, part of our prehistoric wiring. Rather than tending to those and fueling them, they can be there and that's fine. But we'll tend to what's actually happening here, which is the lungs are moving, you can feel some sensations, hands on the belly rising and falling. And this is just one way to be present, to increase our muscles, train our focus. But breath can be a double edge. It may not be for everybody. So it could also be just sound, aware of the field of hearing. Some things that might be going on in your environment, allowing that to be your focus. Or sensations in the body, just feeling whatever you feel, the weight, the sense of gravity, sensations in the feet, the hands. If breath is okay for you to have as your focus, then it might be helpful to have an interior word or a couple of words that you repeat as the breath comes in, just that, the word in. And as the exhale leaves the body, the word out, in and out. If you have a practice of ujjayi breath, then the breath is in and out through the nose, moving like a wave. There's some sound attached to that, a little constriction at the back throat. Let's take 5 breaths together here. Exhaling for 5. For 4. For 3. It might not be my count. Just in your own time. 2. And 1. Let's release the arms away from the body now into wide wings or a cactus shape, and slowly let the knees fall over towards the right. Take a couple breaths on this side, coming to the baby toe edge of the right foot and the big toe edge of the left foot. Nodding the chin over towards the left and taking a breath into the left hip, left ribs, under the arm. And then exhale, let the low back heavy to the ground. Bring the knees back to center. And then have the knees track over towards the left, reaching the right knee long. Coming to the big toe edge of the right foot, the baby toe edge of the left foot. And then shifting the gaze over the right shoulder. Taking 2 breaths there. A little contraction in the belly. It's 1. And 2. Have the knees come back up. And then bring the knees in towards your armpits. Just let the heels be heavy and dangle there in a variation of a happy baby pose. Holding onto your shins or underneath your thighs. And again, drop the chin over towards the right. So if you're using a cushy pillow, this might not work as well. You can have the blanket under your head, or you can just have the back of your skull directly on the floor. Just feeling into the stretch as you move your head left and right, really slowly. If it's useful to you to coordinate with the breath, then exhaling over to one side, pause, and inhale, center. Just getting curious and interested into the sensations in the neck, and this passive hip opener. Eyes can be open or closed, not gazing at anything in particular. Let's bring the head back to center now and stir the knees in towards each other. Reach them away from each other and out. Taking these circles with hands supporting the knees as you move around in the space. Low back touches the floor as the knees come in, and then as the knees reach away, there's a little arch in the lower back. Stirring out the synovial fluids in the hips a couple more times in this direction. And then changing direction. And bring the feet to the floor now. Press the low back down towards the floor. Let your hands come down beside your hips. Press the backs of the arms and then rock the pelvis forward. Feeling the opening under the low back as you exhale. Press the low back to the floor. Peeling the tailbone up, but keeping the hips down. Inhale, rocking forward. Exhale, tipping the pelvis back. Feeling the feet, feeling the palms, anchor and ground, the back of the skull. A couple more times. And then let's peel it up into a drawbridge on the inhale. Then roll it back down on the exhale. Knees about hips distance apart. Inhale, let the hips rock forward, and then on the exhale, press the low back. Peel the hips up on the inhale, coming up to that drawbridge. Not your highest bridge, just to the tips of the shoulder blades, and then roll back down. So mostly in the lower back. Inhale, rock it forward. Exhale, peel it up, and this time stay. Just take a breath there. Soften the hips a little bit. Let's reach the arms up and maybe beyond the head. Inhale, keep the arms back there. And then slowly roll it all the way back down. Take a breath in. And then exhale, bring the hands back down beside the hips. Another breath there. And then press the low back down again. Exhale to lift up. Stay there for the inhale and the exhale. Let's float the arms up again, reaching them to where it's comfortable for you on the inhale. And roll it all the way down on the exhale, but keep the arms just lengthening back, toning the belly. Reaching the arms back down beside the hips, exhale. Inhale, hips rock a little forward. Let's do that one more time. Low back presses, exhale. Hips lift, inhale. Stay on the exhale. And then float the arms, inhale. Pause. And then the exhale rolls it all back down. Inhale, arms are still reaching long. Exhale, lower the arms. Take a breath there. Right knee draws in towards the chest. Exhale. Circle the ankle. Just moving the ankle around a couple of times. Stretch the left heel to the ceiling. And cradle the back of your right leg with your hands, or you can use your strap there. And just press up through the heel. Your left foot can be firmly planted on the ground with the knee bent, or you can straighten that leg out. Let's point the toes now, breathing in, make a fist, and then flex that heel up. Point the toes, inhale. Exhale, flex up through the heel. One more time, point the toes. And then hug that thigh back in. Give it a squeeze, exhale. Stretch both legs long, reach the arms long. Hook the thumbs together there, inhale. Let's walk the heels over to the left and shift the head and shoulders to the left as well. You can just relax the arms now or take a hold of your right forearm with your left hand. It's coming into a C shape. Allowing the breath to fill in through the right side of the body. Notice where you might be gripping or holding. Allowing the thoughts to be present, but just moving along like a stream with all the other sensations that are coming and going. Let's be soft in the feet. You might cross at the ankles. See what that experience is like in your body right now. And then lengthen out again. Hug both knees in towards the chest and exhale, squeeze. Release the knees away on the inhale. And then exhale, just a straight squeeze in, stimulating the digestive organs. Inhale. Exhale, just pumping those. Once more. Hugging that in. Let's keep the left knee in towards the chest, a little bit off to the left, and circle out the ankle. Your right foot can come to the floor with the knee bent. Just focus on getting into all of the ligaments around the left ankle, between the toes. And then left heel to the ceiling. Hands are strapped behind the left thigh. Right foot on the floor or right leg just to lengthen out. Different each time we come into these shapes. The body is a little different. Point the toes, inhale, and then exhale, flex. Inhale, point, and exhale, lengthen up through the heel. You can have a little bend at the knee. We're not looking to stretch the ligaments behind the knee as you do that. Cycle through again. And then hug that thigh in, exhale. Let the left leg meet the right leg and reach the arms beyond the head. Start to
Hook the thumbs together, get a little longer through the torso, dropping through the belly, and then walk the heels over towards the right. Shift the head, shoulders as well to the right. Relax the arms there. They can be in a cactus, or you can take a hold of the left wrist with the right hand, left elbow. So you can open up into this banana shape left side. Maybe cross the ankles if that feels like less work. Once you come into a shape, sinking back into movement of breath. Sound. It's whatever is here right now, having an allowing openness to it all. Let's take it back through center. Lengthen out one more time and then come all the way back in with the knees. And bring the feet to the floor. Let's take it over onto the left side. And here you could use your blanket or pillow, or you can just come to rest on your forearm. So knees are in front. You can use your right hand just to see that you're not falling forward or back. And then draw the left knee in towards the side ribs a little bit. You can take a hold of it, hold of the shin or the thigh with your right hand. Or you can reach for your foot, your big toe with your peace fingers. We're going to stretch that leg up on a diagonal a little bit. May still have a deep bend, just getting into a different area of the hamstring, and then bring it back in. You can stretch it out, just support the hamstring or the shin, or maybe you've got a little more flexibility today. Hug it in towards the side body again. And reach it out. Inhale. And exhale. Let's just lengthen out and pause here for 3 breaths. Relaxing the face, the jaw for 2. And 1. Let's bend that knee, give it a squeeze. And then release it back down. Pause for a moment there. And exhale. Let's come on to the back. We'll just move right on to the second side. Everything mindfully and slowly, not our usual way of being. Something feels awkward or uncomfortable in moving this slowly, then just notice that. It's not our way, our usual habit. Maybe there's something to savor here, even if there's some boredom, stimulates creativity. So let's draw the left thigh in now. And just kind of find that where you're not rolling forward or back. You can keep your hand on your shin or your upper thigh as you lengthen out through that heel on a bit of a diagonal. Or you can hold the big toes with peace fingers. Leg does not have to straighten. Just hugging that in, keeping that hip flexor. Inhale and exhale, give it a squeeze. Couple more of those. This big suitcase, warehouse of the hip. Let's hug it in, just let the heel be heavy for 1 more breath. Release the knees back together. And just pause there. Since we're already on our side, let's press into the top hand and bring it to the hands and knees. Shift some weight forward and back. And stretching out the wrist, press the inner palm. Sliding the spine a little bit forward of the wrists. And then just coming back to where you can. If you need the padding underneath the knees, then take a moment to do that for yourself. Shifting through. You can be on your palms, or you can come to your elbows so that we can shift the hips all the way over towards the right and then back to center. So knees are a little bit back of the hips and fairly close together as you shift to the left. And so you can decide if forearms, or if you're okay on your hands to do this. Keep a little bit of a lift in the core. You can take a peek over opposite shoulder. And then come back. Elbows to the floor, right underneath the shoulders now. And you can clasp your hands together here. A little easier on the shoulders and the wrists. Pull the belly up and in and come into a cow shape. Sorry, cat. Some flexion. Squeeze the forearms, press to the floor. Let the tips of the shoulder blades move together. This is cow. And exhale. Peel it into cat. And give that squeeze on the inhale. Peel it into cat on the exhale. Shifting back to a tabletop shape, coming up on the fingertips now. Squeezing between the shoulder blades. Just feeling how it's different here. And exhale. And step the left leg out to the side, so you've got a gate pose. And you can take that leg comfortably away from yourself. So adjust. Shifting, a little bit of movement forward and back again. I'm up on fingertips. You could be using fists or palms. Feeling a lift underneath your left thigh and pressing into the outer left foot as you rock forward and back. Forward and back. Good. Walk the hands in a little bit closer. Continuing to press into the outer left foot and then bring the hands up. And you might still have some padding underneath your right knee. Let's reach the right arm up towards the ceiling, and we'll just take a very gentle side stretch. Coming up on the inhale, and then exhale here. And you could just be dangling the right arm, just kind of focusing on getting in a little more to the side. Right side under the arm, area of the lungs, the upper back. Come back up, release the hands down. Let's take one more breath into a cow shape. And then as you come into cat, a little more space to bring the knees in. Walking the hands forward now and keeping the hips high. Setting the chest in towards a puppy pose. Doesn't have to come to the floor. Forehead can be floating or resting on the floor, or you can bring in your blanket there. Lifting the underside of the body a little bit to keep some space in the low back. Taking 3 breaths here, hydrating the lungs. 3-dimensional breath. 2. And 3. Let's walk the hands back in. Let's curl the toes under for a moment and just sit back towards the heels. And just circle out the wrists a few times. Stretching through the bottoms of the feet. Give yourself some shakes, some music, some piano. Squeeze the fists really tight. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze.
And slowly let that unfurl. If you need to stand up taller, you can do that. Or come in and out, squeeze the fists. Slowly release. And one more time, squeeze and release. Shake, shake, shake. Let's come forward for the second side now. Back up on the fingertips perhaps. Coming into cow pose on the inhale. And exhale, peel it into cat. Inhale. And exhale as the belly lifts, step the right leg out to the side. Adjust the leg so it's the arch or the heel of the right leg is lining up with the hip. Take one more cow, dropping the belly. And exhale, lifting the underside of the body, including the right inner thigh. Let's shift forward and back a few times. And so you may, the movement may be small, or for some, maybe sitting further back towards the heel. Keeping the outer right foot pressing, keeping that arch in the foot. Good, and then adjust so that the hands can walk in and come to the waist. Coming into gate pose, keeping the right hand where it is and floating the left arm up. Just a little side stretch, sliding the right hand down and then back up. Inhale to open up the sides. You can dangle the left arm or just hold the back of your head and then come up again. Exhale. Inhale last time. Couple breaths there, filling into the left lungs. Back up. Release the hands back down. And slide that leg in. Taking it into another puppy pose or a child's pose, sitting more back towards the heels. Or if you feel a little more energetic, you can curl the toes under and lift the hips up for the downward facing dog. Wherever you are, taking 5 breaths. Keeping with your inner experience, whatever is presenting, not taking it too seriously. And let's come back. Going to come into a seat. And so that might be on a chair, it might be on the edge of your couch, or you can take your blanket or pillows, bolster, whatever you have, it's fine. And make yourself a perch. Something where your lower back will have some space. Definitely not necessary to sit in a cross-legged position. Let's take a moment here just to sit and know that you're sitting. And then we'll work into the neck, so we'll take the right ear to the right shoulder. I like to press my left palm away, or if you're on a chair, you can hold the side of the chair, or underneath the chair, you can pull up a little bit, get a little more traction over here. And then let the chin just nod slightly over to the right. Just do this really slowly. You can tip the chin down so that your gaze is more or less over to the right side of your hip or knee or whatever's there. Spot on the floor. Little circles with the tip of the nose there. You try looking up on a diagonal and then back down. Reaching up and down. Sometimes I'll rest my back of the left hand at the lower back to open up this collarbone a little more. Good, and then let's start to line up the right ear with the right shoulder again. Add the weight of the right hand along the left side of the ear, if that feels helpful. And take another couple breaths there. Release both hands. Look over the right shoulder and then down and through center and pause there. Just giving the back of the neck some time. Notice if the entire spine starts to collapse and sit a little bit taller. Let's start to nod the chin so that the left ear can line up the left shoulder now. And stretch the right arm. Stretch it away. Press out through the base of the palm or hold underneath your chair. You can also rest your back of palm at the low back. Let's take the chin just down slightly to the left. And then move our little tiny circles with the tip of the nose here. You can stretch the jaw, opening and closing the mouth. Looking up and looking down. Exploring the laboratory of your being. What's going on right here? Slowly, we'll start to let the left ear line up with the left shoulder again and add the weight of the left hand. Only if you need that for 3, 2, and 1. Release the hands, both hands, slowly drop the chin. Looking down one more time. And then come back to center. And let's reach the right arm up and let it rest behind the head. Feel it, give yourself a little massage there if you like, in the neck or in the base of the skull. And then allow the head to lift up, letting the head give a little bit of a nod or a press back through the right hand, reaching up through the right elbow. And take the left hand and give the right elbow a little draw back so you're framing the head. Tips of the shoulder blades moving together again. Really tight area for a lot of us. Just in our habits of being with our phones and screens. Let's reach it up. And then bring the other side in. So the left hand, cradle the neck. Just start with that. You can look down, give a few squeezes there. Back of the skull. Start to draw the head back. That might be enough. You can have the right arm supporting the elbow of the left side to come back a little bit more. Taking any arch out of the low back. Sending the floating ribs down towards the hips and breathing here. Seeing if you can have some sensations of the breath in the upper back. And reach it up. Open up the arms. Bring the hands around so you can clasp the hands behind your back, or you can use that sock or scarf to come behind. If you need to adjust the way you're sitting, or even if you prefer to be standing, just bring your hands with your fingers coming in towards the thumbs. So palms are facing back and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Maybe move the hands back a little bit here and send your gaze upwards just slightly. The chin is not really lifting, not very much, but the gaze. Experiencing the breath in this shape. And then release the arms and let yourself just have this moment here to feel what you're feeling in terms of the physicality of being a little more open across the collarbones, and how that feels in the emotional body as well, to have some nobility in the way that we hold our head above the shoulders. Good. So let's just come back onto hands and knees. And just give it a little stretch out. After sitting, press back through the right heel, straighten the right leg. You could do this from the forearms as well. Both sides, a couple times. Let's lower right onto the tummy. You could bring in your blanket or a pillow and roll it up, just to kind of stuff it underneath your upper ribs, or your lower ribs, really. Making a bit of a shelf to support yourself with the elbows in front of that, however big that support is. You can roll it up to be higher or lower. Hands can be shoulder distance apart, or the hands can be clasped. And you may need to adjust to walk the elbows further forward if you're feeling anything at all in the lower back. We're not going for any sensation in the lower back. Continuing to give attention to the heart, to the thoracic spine, some passive opening of the front hips here as well. It can feel nice if the elbows are forward enough to just hold the face. Hold the face and tend to this area, appreciating what we appreciate appreciates, expands and grows. Taking some extra time in these finishing postures. But if you do feel things going on in the lower back, then you want to come down lower. You can rest your forehead fist on fist with the elbows wide, or palm on palm. It's a posture to make space in the digestive organs, allow those processes to flourish. Feeding the breath into the back body. Let's take another breath there. And release. You can wiggle back, take the support out of the way if you had one. Let's press it back into a child's pose. Could have the knees come in quite close just to try this one. Stack the fists for the forehead, or the forehead is okay to come down, then let the arms reach behind with the palms flipping up. You can drag the palms forward a little bit and tuck the thumbs in. Curl the fingers around the thumbs. Get a stretch for the backs of the wrists. And then just relax and release and let the shoulders heavy to the ears. If you don't prefer to be in a child's pose on your knees, then you can sit in a wide diamond shape and let the spine just drape forward. Or you can be lying on your back with your knees hugging in again. And let's all come over and onto the back. You can use a pillow or your blanket. Just kind of tuck it between the thighs and shift so that we're on our left side. To lie down here.
If it's okay, the head can be on the floor, or you can put something underneath it. Give it a bit of height and reach the right fingers forward. And then trace a big circle, swoop around and over towards the right. Bring that arm up and back around to meet the left hand and roll a little further forward. And then trace the swoop again around towards the right. You can let your gaze go that way as well, following the fingers with your gaze, reaching ahead of your left arm, and then coming back and open either to cactus or to the wider wings or an A-frame. Coming to pause here now. Your left hand can support on the right thigh, and you can adjust the knees to be a little higher if that feels good. Your seat might be swinging right off your mat. This posture to light up the spine, to bring some symmetry to the communication centers that run to the brain and back and forth. Let's take 3 breaths together here. Finishing the exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. Exhale all the way, all the way, all the way down. Empty and pause. Good. The natural breath in to come back to center. Whatever you'd like in center, a few bounces. Reset the hips. Blanket or pillow or assortment of supports between the knees over towards the right. Could have another one underneath your shins, tending to your structure in a way that makes sense. We're stretching the arms just in front of the shoulders and reaching forward with the left hand. So the tip of the nose rolls to the floor. Trace a big semicircle around and up and over, feeling what it's like on this side. Maybe just a cactus. And then back to the start and roll the tip of the nose to the floor. Reach forward. Swoop it around, opening up and coming back. One more time, big circle back. Adjust the arm shape so your left shoulder is pretty close to, if not on the ground. So maybe you need an A-frame. You can bring your knees a little higher or lower. Right hand to the left thigh might feel nice. Shifting your gaze to the ceiling or to the left. Being aware of the field of vision, eyes open or closed, colors, lights. Let's take those 3 breaths on this side, finishing the exhale. Inhaling for 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. Empty, 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 and pause. Just that last little ring out. And let it go. Let's take it to the back. Let's take the right leg to the ceiling and give it a shake. A vigorous shake. Fast, loose, minimum effort in the muscles. Just shaking the fluids and the flesh around the bones. And drop that leg. And then the left leg. And same thing here. Loosen up any kinks. Anything left. Fling it to the sky. Shake, shake, shake. And release. Start to think of what might be nice to have for your final rest, for Shavasana. A final pose if you feel that something else is calling. You can take this posture the way we started, with the feet wide and the knees touching, or the legs can be long. If you're near a couch or a wall and you'd like to have your legs up, so if there's a couch or a chair, it can come right under, up to the knees. You can slide your seat up there. Choosing a place where you can be in complete stillness for a few minutes. Not easy, but very worthwhile. The benefits of just being at rest, resting and digesting. I think it was the Dalai Lama that said that sleep is the highest meditation. Still, but with much happening, much healing. If you're tired, just let yourself be tired, and maybe this is your end of day drifting off, and that's wonderful. Or maybe there's a lot of prodding and things that are coming to your awareness that are in that whole reactive zone. That's okay too. Being with the experience with compassion, with friendliness. Open to all passing through in the stream of consciousness, of thoughts and sensations. If there's a lot of that negative energy, seeing that is amazing. You might persist for even just another minute and have a focus on breath or sound, an anchor. The discipline, the training that builds the muscles of resilience. Staying with your experience.
As we come to close the practice formally, you may wish to just turn off and head to bed. Otherwise, starting to bring some movement back to the fingers and toes. To move through the traditional transition into a position on your side, either side. Coming into the rescue pose, resting your head on your blanket or pillow or your arm. Thanking yourself for tending to this garden that is your inner experience on all levels. Heart, mind, body, integrating. Pressing up to take a seat. And although you may be joining this practice on your own at a later time, know that this is a community. All of the amazing things that are easy to take for granted that make this even possible, that we can all somehow be here from our home yoga studios, practicing together and wishing each other well. I wish you well. I wish you peace. May you be safe. May you be happy, free from suffering. May the merits of all of our intentions and practice together in some way benefit all beings everywhere. Namaste. Thanks for joining. See you soon, I hope.